so I'm going to stand on a soapbox right now. Our students can, and I believe that all of our students should be included in anything that is presented to their gen ed peers. I believe in access for all students. I believe all students can do it, and especially our students. They are so worthy, and they are so deserving of a wonderful education and wonderful people. Hi, I'm Rose. I teach TK through second grade. I have a life skills classroom, which means most of my students need assistance with daily living skills and life skills. We assist them with communication. Most of my students are non-speaking. We assist them with mobility needs. They get into gait trainers and standers and adapted seating almost daily. And we help with hygiene needs. In other places, it may be called the medically fragile classroom. Many of my students have medical needs, and we do have a full-time RN on our campus, and we have 2 LVNs who help with medical procedures. And we are MOVE trained. We use the MOVE curriculum, which means mobility opportunities via education. So giving access to their educational environment as well as giving them opportunities to move. So they'll get in their walkers, their standers, and their adapted seating daily. And we also use the ULS curriculum, the Unique Systems Learning Curriculum, which is adapted for students with special education. My students are typically level 3, meaning they need the most support. We utilize visuals every day. We utilize AAC devices every day, just as a way to support the communication. And that is a little bit about my classroom. So with that said, let's get into it. So one of the most frequently asked questions is, how do you build morale with your paras? How do you work well with your paras? How do you have a good relationship with your paras? Any tips and tricks for working with paras? As I said before, my classroom has high needs, and so we have a 2-to-1 student to adult ratio, which means for every 2 students, we have 1 adult, which is usually a para. And so we have to build good relationships in my classroom, otherwise it wouldn't work. So I guess my number 1 tip and trick for working with paras is just open communication, just letting them know your expectations and modeling that expectation. And if they are doing something that you do not want them to do or you would like them to do differently, then you would have a one-on-one conversation with them, pull them aside and talk to them. Really at the end of the day, we're building trust. Our why, everyone's why in our classroom should always be because of the children. So for the most part, we all get along because we know we're doing this for the kids. I would never ask my parents to do something that I wouldn't do. That includes diaper changes, that includes doing the heavy lifting, of getting them in and out of equipment. Like, we are a team in my classroom. I think I emphasize that the most. Teamwork makes the dream work, and with that mindset, we get a lot done in my classroom. Another way that we build trust and we build friendships is we love to do mini celebrations. So at the beginning of every year, we ask our paras to fill out a what's my favorite things list, and they'll tell us their favorite candies and favorite snacks, favorite shows, favorite stores, all their favorites. So when it's time to celebrate them for birthdays or anniversaries or anything fun like that, we'll give them a fun little favorites goodie bag. We love to celebrate their birthdays. We love to celebrate every little thing that we can. And I know my next tip is not for everybody because some people have strict work and friendship boundaries, but this is what works for me in my classroom. We like to get together and mingle outside the classroom, especially a big hoorah for the end of the school year. We like to get together, have a meal with one another, and just chat it up and not talk about work. I think that's the best way to build friendships. Of course, I know that's not for everyone, but like I said, that's what works for me in my classroom. Next question I get often is, what curriculum do you use? So we use ULS, which is the Unique Learning System, and it was purchased from our district to use with all our special education classrooms. And I love the Unique Learning System because before that, we were just adapting what the general education students used, and which is a lot of adapting. So why reinvent the wheel? I love that Unique Learning Systems comes with visuals that are ready to use. It comes with lesson plans that are easy to implement, and it comes with connection to the standards, so you know you're teaching the same standards in your classroom as they are in a gen ed classroom. It just looks differently. So I don't have enough good things to say about Unique Learning Systems. We love it. We use it all the time in my classroom. Another question that I get often is, what does your schedule look like? I've said this in a previous video, but our schedule looks different every day. But just for an overview, every day we arrive and we have free choice time. So my students arrive at different times just because they have different medical needs, they have different things they need to take care of outside of the classroom. So yes, school starts at a certain time for everyone. It starts at 8, and my students tend to trickle in up until 9. During that time, because I don't want my students who arrive closer to 9 to miss anything, we have from 8 to 9, we have breakfast, we have free choice, and we have hygiene. 9 o'clock, all of my students are here. We start our circle time. I am crossing my fingers and hoping that I get around to it this year, that I will actually film a full circle time. I have a pretty good overview of it over on my Instagram if you would like to see that. It just gives kind of like the music that we use and our routine for circle time. Students love circle time. It's the one thing that I've kept the same in the 9 years that I've been teaching, and I've stuck with it and I've run with it because everyone loves it. We go over our good morning song, and we'll use our AAC devices to say good morning. We go over days of the week, months of the year, ABCs, 1, 2, 3s, colors, the weather, and then we'll talk about our calendar, and we'll talk about our schedule for the day. Then we'll talk about who is here today, which is another AAC opportunity for students to say, I'm here, and a chance for them to choose another student to go next to say they're here as well. And we'll sing a little song for them as they walk up to the board and they say they are here today. So after circle time is all done, then we have recess, which is an opportunity for us to work on our mobility goals and our mobility needs. So every student is up and in equipment unless they are unable to due to medical needs or other needs. And so we schedule around that, and they'll have their mobility time at a different time. I don't want to confuse you, but let's just say it's recess and it's mobility time for everyone. So we will get into standards and gait trainers, and we have adapted bikes. And if students are unable to weight bear or they don't have weight bearing clearance, we'll take them out in their wheelchairs and they get to interact with their peers. Hold on, let me turn on the light. We are at a public school, and we are at a school of over 900 students, and our population in our classroom, so I have the TK through 2nd, and then my teacher buddy has 3 through 5. And so between the two of us, we can have a max of 20 students. This year, between the two of us, we have about 10 students. And so we make up a very tiny population of the school because we have about 900 kids. But oh my gosh, when I tell you that our kids, our students, our gen ed peers just love on our kids, they do. They are very helpful during recess. They come up to our students, they interact, they engage. The way that the students at this school treat our kids is just beyond amazing. And we feel so welcome, and we feel just a part of the crew here. So we love it. So after recess, this is what changes daily. On Mondays, we go to music, and we go there for about an hour. On Tuesdays, we have speech. So our speech therapist comes in and does a whole group lesson. And then Wednesdays and Thursdays, we'll switch between a ELA phonics lesson and a math lesson. And then on Fridays, we have Friday Fun Day. So you saw there, it's a little different every day. Music one day, speech another day, phonics ELA, math, and Friday Fun Day, which if you have watched the videos here on my YouTube, you see we have fun as much as we can on Fridays. After those activities, then we get into centers. On Mondays, we just go ahead and do a quick life skills center. We'll talk about brushing teeth, we'll talk about doing laundry, we'll talk about setting the table, we'll talk about what it's like to go to the doctor, things like that. And then on Tuesdays, we will do another life skills center one that just carries on from the day before. On Wednesdays, on Wednesdays and Thursdays, we do a math and ELA center. And then Fridays, we continue with Friday Fun Day. It tends to be a longer lesson, and my room and my teacher, Bessie, we combine, and we just have a fun lesson. On Friday Fun Days, we rotate between art, science, cooking, and adapted PE. We try to make it as fun as possible. After that, our students get ready for lunch. We typically go outside for lunch. We live in SoCal, so the weather is mostly nice. And when it's not so nice, then we'll eat lunch inside just due to the needs of the students. After lunch, we have hygiene time, more free choice time, and then it rotates Monday through Friday on the activities that come after that. So on Mondays, we go to the library. On Tuesdays, we learn sign language. On Wednesdays, we do the News to You article that comes with the ULS Curriculum. On Thursdays, we have a shorter day. We have our Bear Buddies come in, which are our 5th grade Gen Ed peers. They come in and they read to our students for about 20 minutes. And then on Fridays, we read a story. And we always choose a story where we can watch the movie after we read the story. So we choose a chapter book. The last one that we read and watched was Diary of a Wimpy Kid. So we read about a chapter a day, give or take. And then right before winter break, we were able to watch Diary of a Wimpy Kid, and then we were able to compare and contrast the two. And then it takes us into our closing circle where we just sing goodbye songs to everyone, and then it's time to go home. So that is our daily schedule. Other questions that I get asked often, it mostly has to do with AAC. Did I get training? How do I introduce AAC to my students? How many AAC devices do I have in my classroom? With AAC, I use it every single day. Like I said, my students are non-speaking, so without AAC, we wouldn't be able to communicate with one another. I am in no way an expert when it comes to AAC. I'm not a speech therapist. The beauty of our program here at our school is that we have our speech therapists, our physical therapists, and our occupational therapists come in once a week to consult with me and take a look at our students and their needs, and they will teach me what I need to do so I can implement it with my students. So our speech therapist is amazing. Right now she's on maternity leave and we miss her so much. So if you are watching, Katie, we miss you and we love you. But she is the one that introduced our classroom to all our AAC devices. We have single message devices where you record a message on a button and a student can push it. We have multi-step message devices so you can record multiple messages, which is great for like counting or saying a poem, or saying the Pledge of Allegiance, things like that. We have, we call it a Twin Talk device, where it's a device that has a choice of 2, so students can make choices, and we have one where you can make a choice of 4. We have communication apps on our iPads. We had TD Snap, but we don't have it right now. We're hoping we can get it back soon because I just started falling in love with TD Snap and then we lost our licensing, so I'm hoping we can get it back. We also have Go Talk Now. I love that app. It's perfect for making visuals and single message output devices on the go. And we have Touch Chat, which I'm not too familiar with right now, but I'm trying to learn. And so the way that I learn is I use it. I try to keep all of my AAC devices. I keep all of my AAC devices in the front of the classroom so that we use them daily. The number one tip with that is like, don't keep them on a shelf hidden away. You're never going to use them. And then create opportunities for students to respond or make comments on things. So like just take a look at your daily routine and think of what your students who are speaking respond. Like, for example, you're like, is Sarah here today? And Sarah will say, I'm here. And that's something that happens daily. You can put that message on a button and then have the student who is non-speaking push the button so they can also say they're here. So it can start with something as simple as that, or even greetings. As they walk in, most students say hi, and you can have them push a button when they enter the room so they can say hi, or when they're leaving, push a button so they can say bye. So it's just thinking of spots in your day that are repetitive that students can begin to use AAC independently and on their own. First step is to have it out and about so people will use it. My second advice is to just continue modeling, even if you feel like, oh my gosh, I don't know what I'm doing, I don't know this app, I don't know this button. Just keep trying, because even modeling you problem solving is helpful for not only yourself, but the aides in your classroom. Your students are learning that it's okay to problem solve, and so it's good for everybody. So keep your devices out, model, figure out a way that you can implement it in every aspect of your day. I created a monthly AAC calendar because I was finding that I had a lot of questions about how do you do that? How did you come up with that idea? How do you do the things? And when you do things so often, you don't really think about how you do it, you just do it. So I sat down and thought, okay, if I was a brand new teacher who's new to this AAC thing, or if I just needed a few ideas, what would I do? And so each month I sit down and I think of a few ideas for you and ways you can implement AAC, and I give that as a freebie over on my Instagram. And I can go ahead and link a few down below just so you can see the ones I've started. I am a full-time teacher and a mama to 3 under the age of 7. I can't believe my oldest is 7. So I try my best to get these calendars out before the start of the month because I know teachers love to plan, but sometimes it happens the first week into the month, but I'm trying to be more consistent. My goal this year is to be more consistent. How do I have time to do all the things? I get that question a lot. How do I have time to prep all my visuals? How do I have time to laminate, cut, Velcro, the whole 9 yards? Let me tell you, this is 9 years in the making. I didn't just start yesterday and have all the things prepped. So a lot of these lessons are reused every year. A lot of these lessons I've kind of made better over the years. So year 1, year 2, year 3, I have those things still, and I continue to make it better. I also utilize my instructional aides. I have an aide who is like the other half of my brain, and she's like, hey, what are we doing next month? Aren't we doing A, B, and C? Do you need me to print those for you? Do you need me to laminate? Do you need me to copy, cut, the whole 9 yards? So I have amazing parents that I've built wonderful relationships with, and they will keep me on top of my game. Very rarely, and I do mean rarely, do I take things home to work on because I try to leave work at work. And when I go home, I want to turn it all off and be present for my husband and my children. And so the only thing I do outside of work at home that's work related are these videos and my blog and my TPT, my little teacher community business that I've built, because I am so passionate about reaching teachers like you and helping you help your students. Because, so I'm going to stand on a soapbox right now. Our students can, and I believe that all of our students should be included in anything that is presented to their gen ed peers. I believe in access for all students. I believe all students can do it, and especially our students. And so often, I've heard in my own little circles, in my own little bubbles, of students like ours who have been placed in a corner or left in their wheelchairs all day, or have not been treated fairly just because they are unable to speak, unable to move on their own, unable to take care of themselves on their own. And that breaks my heart, because our students are so capable and they are so worthy, and they are so deserving of a wonderful education and wonderful people. And just, it's best to have the least dangerous assumption and just know that our students can. So that's why I create all this stuff. Not for any other reason other than I want everyone to know that our students can, and our students should have access like every other student. Okay, I'm gonna step off my soapbox. I don't even know what I was talking about anymore. That's how I do all the things. I have wonderful aides. I have carried on lessons from years and years and years. ULS makes it super easy. It's print and go. And I am not a type A teacher. I may present myself as that to those that are watching, but I'm very type B. I'm very in the fact that like the plans live in my head, and then I'm like, okay, let's go. And like my teacher Bessie is type A. She writes everything down. She has a planner that she actually writes in. Like I have 10 planners that I never write in. I just think they're pretty, and I don't want to ruin the prettiness. I have so many pens. I have so much stationery. It's ridiculous. So me and my teacher Bestie will plan the month at the beginning of the month and go, okay, Friday fun days. This is what we're doing. Boom, boom, boom. And then like clockwork, and she knows this, and I love her so much, like every day I'll be like, what are you doing on Friday? What are you doing on Friday? Oh yeah. Do I need to get something for Friday? Oh yeah. And so a lot of the time I hesitate to answer your questions because you're like, why are you so amazing, Rose? And the truth is I'm not amazing. I am surrounded by amazing people. Like I said, I have my teacher Bestie. I have my amazing paraprofessionals. Like this classroom would not work without them. I have an amazing OT and PT. I have an amazing speech therapist, and all of these people combined just make our classroom what it is, and it's amazing. Also, I have great relationships with the parents. And so that's another question I get asked is like, how do you build strong relationships with your parents? And truth be told, this whole adapted classroom thing started because of the parents in my classroom. I started posting things here and there to showcase what we could do. And it was the parents who pushed and like advocated for their kids to be in front of the camera so the world could see and show that their kids can. And so I write communication logs home every day. That's how I build a strong relationship. I communicate with my parents almost every single day. They have my personal phone number. Keep in mind, I know this is not for everybody, but my students, they do. They have medical needs, which equals medical emergencies, and I need to have direct access to their phone number, and having my phone number is just the easiest way. We respect each other's boundaries. We typically don't call or text outside of the school day unless it's 1,000% important, and they know that if it's not 1,000% important, they probably won't receive a response until I can get back into the classroom and respond. So anyways, I have amazing parents. Those are my most frequently asked questions. That's it for my most frequently asked questions. I know it's not a ton, but I hope you learned something. And if you have more ideas for YouTube videos or Instagram reels or whatnot, please feel free to leave a comment below and let me know, because I want to get those out for you. Like I said, I'm here to help you and in the capacity that I can. I hope this helped maybe a little bit, maybe a tiny bit, maybe not at all. I'm sorry. Like I said, follow me on Instagram at The Adapted Classroom, because that's where I update the most. I post our like mini videos of our lessons through Reels. I post every Thursday in my stories for Teaching Thursday. This is where I get most of my questions. If you have a burning question that you're dying to know the answer to, please leave a question on Thursdays, and I hope I can answer them for you. Yeah, I hope this video was helpful. All right, teacher friends, until next time, bye.